Hey, I'm Andrew Gash for Audioholics. This is a weird review, just telling you now. If you look at this table, you see an assortment of remote controls, and it may not look like remote controls, but just trust me. So for this video, we're not reviewing a product per se, but more of a genre. First, let me tell you how this came about. There are a myriad of smartphone-based remotes on the market right now. We don't have time to look at all of them, but we have sampled quite a few, and surprise, we formed some opinions. I wanted to do this video because, well, the remote control market is a mess right now. Most companies just don't quite get it, and the range of not getting it goes from, they could use a little bit of help to they're completely clueless. And with that said, let's review the types of consumer iOS remotes, because there are really only three: IR-based, Bluetooth-based, and Wi-Fi-based. Now, all of these remotes ultimately convert some kind of signal into the IR or infrared signals that all of our AV equipment expects to see. That's what your standard remote control puts out. Since everything is built for IR, a good remote has to eventually end up there. A good remote also combines the 4 to 6 remote controls you may have lying around the living room into a single cohesive piece of software. Now, notice that word, cohesive. That's where most companies fail. A very basic universal remote control app would just give you virtual representations of each remote on your iPhone or iPod, and that would be the end of it. But a more advanced app might do something completely different, leveraging macro commands and the power of the internet to bring you more capabilities than you'd ever get with a hard button remote. So the most basic iPhone-based IR remote would be something like this, the RI, or RI, or RI. I hate it when companies do it. I have no idea how to say it. But anyway, this little thing, it's a software, and it functions like a remote aggregator. It's actually free software. Anyway, it gives you a virtual remote for each piece of gear. The problem is that each remote has to load, and it can take 3 remote controls to do some very basic tasks, like turning on the TV, adjusting volume, and watching a TV show. The remote also works via the headphone jack, which is cool, except that it's nearly impossible to actually take a call while you're using the remote app. It's $30, and it probably isn't worth your time, as it simply doesn't simplify the process. In our opinion, it actually creates just as many, if not more, headaches than using the 5 different remotes that you've already got. Now, the next step up for direct IR-based remotes would be the $70 VooMote Zapper. It's fun to say. Anyway, it connects into your iPhone or iPod dock and uses wizards to program remotes into your iOS device. It's a tad more refined. Ultimately, however, it still just combines a bunch of digital remotes into one accessible pile. There are no macros, no program guide, and the apps seem to have difficulty getting through or getting all the remotes correct, though you can learn your remotes right into it. It's more flexible and consistent, but still very limited in scope. Now, this brings us to the worst category remotes, the category of remotes that should be forced upon convicted terrorists to use as punishment for their crimes. We're going to send these all to Gitmo. I'm talking about Bluetooth-connected remotes. Remotes in this category, like the $70 Griffin Beacon here, or the $80 Gear 4 Unity remote, use Bluetooth to connect your iPhone or iPod Touch to the base station, which then issues IR commands to your gear. While the software for these devices tends to get a bit more sophisticated, the hardware just sucks. Sorry. Battery life. It sucks battery life. You didn't get the wrong. No, sucks battery life like an RV drinks gas. On top of that, products like the Beacon require you to tap them on the top to wake them up after 60 minutes as they try to sleep to conserve battery life. Wake up! Whoops, sorry VMote. Oh well, anyway. The point is, they still have to be changed every 3 to 4 weeks. And I've seen them even go dead while just sitting there dormant. Like this. Bluetooth is also a limiting factor in that you can only connect one device at a time. And the connection is more than likely a bit flaky. Now, the final category, Wi-Fi remotes. These are extremely promising, limited only by software. Now, the way that this type of remote works is that you set up an IR emitter, but you also inject a device that receives commands from your Wi-Fi connected iOS device and transmits it to the base station. That way, you're able to connect over your local network and not the more power-hungry and unreliable Bluetooth. Now, one such device, $99, it's the Peel. This is the IR emitter. It's a universal remote, and it does 2 things very well. First of all, it incorporates this Wi-Fi connectivity flawlessly. And it also uses an IR base station that seems to hold a charge for a good amount of time. It's also program-centric, so the very visual program guide drives all of your viewing decisions, be they movies or TV. You literally use the cover art to choose what you want to watch. It's very, well, Apple. Of course, if you want to watch a Blu-ray, you can always call up that direct remote function and switch to the activity automatically and without having to use 3 to 4 different screens or virtual remotes. So what are we saying? I'm saying keep your eyes open for new advances in remote technology. But our recommendation is to steer clear of anything Bluetooth-based and watch those products that require lots of batteries, because over the course of a year, that's going to get to be a pain. As for traditional remotes, well, we still love Logitech's Harmony products, but the growing interactivity afforded by smartphones is delivering at least a potential for stiff competition in the consumer marketplace. Now, if you like universal remotes, go buy one. And before you do, like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Audioholics Live, and be sure to like us at facebook.com/audioholics. Use a universal remote control and I'll give you bonus points. And if you're a real glutton for up-to-the-minute reporting, follow us on Twitter, Audioholics Live.